Okay, so I use that time to read my book and do some research. Hopefully, you guys use that time to go on BrainPop and jot down any notes about the person that you're researching. So, one thing that I came up with as a contribution that Teddy did for the United States was that he actually started this group called the Rough Riders, and they helped win the Battle of San Juan Hill, which then also helped our country win the Spanish-American War. So I'm going to say that in a little bit of caveman talk because my circles are small, so I can't write every single thing I want to say here. I'm going to save that for my actual graphic organizer and then my full writing piece. So I'm going to say Teddy, or I can always put TR, formed the Rough Riders that helped win the Spanish-American War. So TR formed Rough Riders to help win Spanish-American War. And this is only my graphic organizer, so I'm not making it completely perfect. I'm not really doing too much worrying here about spelling or perfect grammar because this is just my graphic organizer. It's just giving me an idea for later. The second thing that I wanted to put in one of my boxes was that he was the president for a square deal. And as I kept on reading these pages, it taught me that Teddy helped to fight for the rights of customers and businesses that were being treated unfairly. So he was the president for a square deal to help small businesses and consumers or customers. TR created square deal to help small businesses and customers be treated fairly. Because remember, we also spoke about how these big businesses were taking advantage of people and they kept raising prices and small businesses were unable to compete with them, and Teddy realized that this really wasn't fair, so that's why he stepped in and created the square deal. So that's a way that he contributed or did something special for the United States. Forming the Rough Riders to help us win the Spanish-American War was also another way that he did a contribution for the United States. I kept on reading. I remembered, and how could I forget, Teddy starting the Panama Canal. Remember when we looked at that map and we saw how long it would have taken for ships and travelers to get all the way down the side of the United States, all the way down Mexico, around through South America to come right back around the other side. And then we said that Teddy noticed a small strip of land and said this would be a really good spot for a shortcut. And he kind of had to do some work to fight for it. So so one thing I want to put down is that Teddy helped organize the creation of the Panama Canal. Let's see. He organized the building of the Panama Canal. Remember, we said that he sent troops down to help build the canal, and he also sent them down to help the people of Panama separate from Colombia. And I kept on reading all the way to the back to the interview that we read with Charles Marcus. And it said what was Theodore Roosevelt's most important achievement in the conservation world? And he says, he set aside 230 million acres of land for national parks, wildlife lands, and forests. That's a huge contribution because when we talk about being able to visit these national parks today, it's really because Teddy Roosevelt was such a lover of nature that he realized that those are places that should be protected. And remember, we said that you can't set up businesses in there, you can't drive your cars through there. They're protected, they're special places that you can just go to enjoy nature, get away from the city. So that's a big contribution, and I definitely want to add that one to the chart. So I'm going to say he set aside 230 million acres of land for parks, wildlife lands, and forests. Okay, so hopefully you're still with me, and hopefully you're thinking about your person and the contributions they made, which would be different from mine. The last part of picking my ideas is I only really want to pick 3 because then my writing is going to be too long. If I really wanted to do 4, I guess I could. But I want to choose out of the 4, the 3 top ones, or the 3 that I feel the most comfortable writing about, or the 3 that I know the most about, so that when I do my writing, I can add more to them. So let's look. I have special contributions Teddy Roosevelt did for the United States. The first one I put was Teddy formed the Rough Riders to help win the Spanish-American War. Teddy Roosevelt created the Square Deal to help small businesses and customers be treated fairly. He organized the building of the Panama Canal, and he set aside 230 million acres of land for parks, wildlife lands, and forests. So in thinking about this, I definitely want to talk about wildlife and parks because I think I can definitely say more about that. I think I could say more about building the Panama Canal. And when I pick between these 2, I think I'd like to talk more about the Square Deal. So these are going to be the 3 that I choose to work on in my writing. And for now, I'm just going to say goodbye to Teddy and the Rough Riders helping win the Spanish-American War because I only really need 3 for later on. So what you can do now is you can stop this video. You can go back to your brain pop, start it, pause it as you need to, do whatever you need so that you can come up with your 4 ideas, and then from those 4 ideas, you're just going to choose 3. You're going to literally pick your ideas and then kind of pick them again. So you pick your 4 ideas, narrow it down to 3, and then we'll use those ideas when we get started with our other graphic organizer for writing. Okay.